Alrighty, hello everybody. It's me, Mrs. Peterson, back with this week's video lesson. Okay, so it's a brand new semester. This is the first video of the semester, so welcome to the spring semester of English. I do teach all of English 10, so there's lots of different courses for English 10, so all of our lessons will try to be triggered to meet every need for every class. For those of you who are new and may not know, I will do a video lesson a week, and I will send this out to you in Odyssey Where Messages. And you will need to watch the video and then complete a Google form. And once you complete that Google form, I will be able to check to see who has done it. And when you do that, I will give you points back into Odysseyware. So you do get points for watching these video lessons. So it's helpful to watch them. Okay. With that being said, for this week's lesson, we are going to be going over point of view and what an unreliable narrator is, so that you guys have that in the back of your mind when you're starting to read all of these different stories, poems, etc., that you are getting into. Okay? But before we get into what point of view and what an unreliable narrator is, let's learn about the different types of point of view. Hold on, let me pull this up for you. Okay. So, I'm hoping that you guys can see this. I will try to zoom in for you. Okay, so right here, it says a first person point of view uses I, me, my, and mine. It focuses on one character's actions as well as the inner emotions, thoughts, desires, intentions, and wants. So if I am speaking in the first person, this is what I am going to use. I'm talking about my feelings, very much about me and mine. And a character, when they are in the first person perspective, is going to say those things as well. Now, second person uses yours, you, and you. Second person point of view is very rare and uses you, your, and yours. It speaks the reader and focuses on the character's actions as well as the emotions, thoughts, desires, and intentions. So, like this has said, this is rare. You aren't going to see it very often because a lot of the times it's not going to directly say, hey, this is you, this is your thoughts, or anything like that. Again, it is rare, and normally those stories are kind of trippy. So, just so you know what second person is. Ooh, hold on, it's loading. Okay. Now we have third person. Now, third person can go into limited, objective, and omniscient. So, third person limited point of view uses people's names, like he, she, it, they, her, him, his, and hers. It focuses on only one of the character's actions, emotions, thoughts, desires, intentions, and wants, but only that one character. So limited, it's very one-sided, but it is talking about another character. Like he jumped over the fence. He was feeling angry. Or Steve was feeling mad. Okay, now third person objective point of view uses people's names. He, she, it, they, her, him, his, and hers. It focuses on every character's actions, but not the emotions, thoughts, desires, intentions, and what. It sees and hears everything. Okay, so this is focusing on only one character's actions and emotions, thoughts, desires, and intentions. But this is focusing on the actions, not the emotions. Now, third person omniscient point of view uses people's names, he, she, it, they, her, him, his, and hers, and knows every character's actions and the emotions, thoughts, desires, and intentions, wants. It knows everything. Bum, bum, bum. The all-knowing omniscient. Okay. So limited. This is focusing on just one person. Objective. This is focusing on every character's actions, but not their emotions, thoughts, desires, and intentions and wants. Omniscient is like all-knowing about every action, about every teeny tiny little thing. Okay? So those are all different, just so that you know. Now, here's like a little graph that's going to help you know, is this first person, second person, third person, objective, omniscient, or limited? Okay. Does it use I, me, or my? If yes, it's first person. If no, does it use your, yours? You, your, yours? If yes, it's second person. If no, does it show any thoughts and feelings and emotions or motives? Yes. Of how many people? Or is there an all-knowing narrator? If no, it's limited. If yes, it's third person. If this answer is no, it's third person objective. So hopefully you can use that to help you if you ever get stuck. And I will find a way to send this to you guys. Or if you want it, email me and I will send it to you. Okay, so that is all about first person, second person, and third person and when to use that. Now, excuse me, when we're talking about point of view in a story, it is important for you as the reader to determine if this narrator is reliable. Can you trust them? Or is this story one big lie? Because sometimes authors do that. If that narrator in that moment is not a trustworthy person, you can't trust what they're saying. So it's going to make you think more. Should I trust this person? What point of view is this coming from? What makes this narrator reliable? And this all goes into point of view. And this is going to help you read more closely and understand more thoroughly. And more importantly, think a little bit deeper than just surface level questions, okay? This is going to get you to the deep root of this. What is this character thinking? What are this character's motives, or what are their motives? And what does this really mean? So let's learn a little bit more about this. Okay, I'm going to show you this Prezi presentation. So come along this journey with me. Okay. Do you always know what is true or false? Can you always spot what is false? What about this? I just got your text 2 hours ago, but I didn't feel like replying. Or, sorry, I'm busy. Friday night. Not really. I just rather waste time on Facebook than hang out with you. How many times have we used this excuse? I am guilty of this. Or, I promise I won't tag you. Yeah, right. So, you don't believe everything you're told. And you shouldn't believe everything you're told by a narrator either. An unreliable narrator. So, let's get into it. We have this author. What the author wants us to actually see, we need to fill this intentional gap with our own inferences. The narrator is what the narrator tells us. Sometimes the author and the narrator are very different things. The author is the one writing the actual story. The narrator is, so let me tell you this crazy story. We need to be able to fill in this gap between author and narrator and make our own inferences. And by inferences, I'm meaning our own conclusions, our own, excuse me, guesses, if you will, at what everything means. So the author does not always equal the narrator. Why use an unreliable narrator? It's fun, unconventional approach, surprise, sometimes for the reader, helps readers understand the power of perspective. And perspective is an important thing because guess what? We all have a different perspective. We're all going to relate differently to the story. So, determining if the narrator is reliable or not is important to help our whole perspective on a story. An example you know, and one you might not know. John Sicca's children's book, From the Big Bad Wolf's Perspective. Wolf explains why his behavior. Do we believe him? Should we? Okay. Are we going to believe the wolf that's just knocking at the door? I don't think so. And here's one you might not know. The 1950 Japanese film tells the story of a horrific murder from 4 different eyewitness accounts, all of which contradict each other, makes us wonder about the nature of truth. And it won the Academy Award. So, think here. We have lots of different examples of stories that we've already read or movies that we watch that these narrators aren't really reliable. And normally that kind of gives us a twist. Think about any horror movie that you just watched in the past lately. That bad guy is always the one that you think you can trust. And a lot of the characters do trust that bad person. In the end, they're the ones that are like the serial killer or the scary person, right? They're not reliable. Now let's think about that. Do we have characters in books that we read that aren't reliable? Is this narrator reliable? What's the point of view from this? It's all about perspective. Oh, sorry. Going click crazy here. I'm sorry. Nothing to do on a Friday night. Both of these stories are on YouTube if you want to watch them. Now, there are different types of unreliable narrators. There are liars and criminals. For example, Edgar Allan Poe's Montesero in the cast of Amontillado or Amontillado, and the narrator of Black Cat. Okay, and by the way, the cask of Amontillado is one that is gonna just like make you go, "What? It's so creepy," but it's awesome. And the narrator is the most lying, seething person ever. And this other character trusts him the entire time, but it makes him unreliable. Should we feel bad for this person? That is where you are going to have to think, what's the point of view of this story? How is this making me feel that this person is doing this awful thing? Do I sympathize with them? Why do I sympathize with them, or why don't I? It's all about perspective, but it's going to help you understand the story better. Or we have the mentally ill. For example, Chief Broadman, a schizophrenic mental ward patient from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Now, these people are unreliable because they do have a mental illness, but it makes you stop and think, what's true? Should I believe the point of view or the perspective of this narrator? And because this person's unreliable, how does this have an impact on the story? Okay, some similarities, like narcissism and disdain for authority. But these narrators have very different motivations in sharing their stories with us. Again, is it to trick us or to manipulate us, just like the characters in the story? Is it to make us sympathize with them, which could go with manipulation, or is it really just to tell their story? That is for you to be the judge. Next, we have the young, innocent, or inexperienced. For example, Scout from To Kill a Mockingbird, shown here with her father, Atticus Finch. Is this person reliable to talk about the ways of the world? Should we trust them? Probably not if they don't have a lot of experience, right? You're not going to come up to me and expect me to teach you math. I would not be reliable in that instance. Okay? Okay, next we have has access to only limited information. For example, Nick Carraway from The Great Gatsby. Okay, listen here. If we're in a story or you're reading a story and one person doesn't know quite the whole big picture yet, like they're not completely in the loop, are you going to trust that person? Okay, it's just like that one friend who tries to give you all this relationship advice, but they weren't the ones who were in that situation or not there, or the one trying to give their friend advice when they weren't even there when something happened. Okay, you're not going to really rely on them to give you accurate information because they don't know the whole situation themselves, right? Okay, next we have can process only limited information. For example, a story of a brain surgeon experiment gone awry told via a series of progress reports from patient Charles Gordon. Okay, we're not going to trust a patient who's telling stories about a brain surgeon. It's not the brain surgeon who's telling the story, it's the patient. Or for another example, a mystery narrated by Christopher John Francis Boone, a 15-year-old boy with autism. Now, they're going to have different takes on the world, but we have to think, can this person process the whole thing, or can they only have limited bits of information? Okay? Oops, sorry, I already told you that. I'm zooming along. Okay. Their actions aren't always consistent with what the narrator tells us. Like, for example, Holden Caulfield from The Catcher in the Rye. So if we have an inconsistent character or someone who's just going to fly off the handle and is not trustworthy, should we trust them as a narrator? Probably not. Now let's see what this looks like on the page. Huck Finn's opening line. You don't know about me without you have read a book by the name of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. But that ain't no matter. That book was made by Mr. Mark Twain, and he told the truth. Mainly. There was things which he stretched, but mainly he told the truth. That is nothing. I never seen anybody but lied one time or another. Okay, from this opening line, how do we know Huck Finn will be an unreliable narrator? I want you guys to just take a second, look back at this. What is going to make Huck Finn an unreliable narrator? Okay, and let me tell you, before we go, it's going to make him an unreliable narrator. Let's just even start right here. You don't know about me without you have read a book by the name of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. But that ain't no matter. That ain't no matter. Well, aren't we going to know more about him from this? That book was made up by Mr. Mark Twain. So this narrator's calling out the author, right? And he told the truth, mainly. So this isn't the whole truth? Should we believe the author? Should we believe the narrator? What's going on? There was things he stretched. So is Huck lying about the author stretching the truth? But mainly he told the truth. That is nothing. So the truth isn't nothing? I'm really confused at this point. Are you? I have never seen anybody but lied one time or another. Oh, so Huck Finn's lying? Is the narrator lying? Is this story even true? Should I believe you? Or are you just making this whole thing up? You can't trust him. Why? He's wishy-washy. He's unpredictable. Should we believe his story? What are we going to get out of this story? But if he's so comfortable with lying, then he'll probably lie to us all too. There's a popular TV film technique too, like Forrest Gump. Is he a reliable person? What about A Beautiful Mind? Now, if you guys have never seen this movie, it's a really good movie, but this is about a schizophrenic man. So he has kind of different things going on and voices talking to him. We can't really trust him because he's mentally ill, so he doesn't have the grasp on everything or the reality, right? So he's not a reliable narrator. We can't trust everything he is saying. Or what about How I Met Your Mother? This is all very a one-sided perspective, right? We don't even see the mother's perspective. Or we don't even have the whole truth or the whole information. And we all know we can't trust this guy. Or in Fight Club. So, how can you know if a narrator is lying to you? You got to read with a critical eye. And this is where thinking about point of view comes into perspective. What point of view is this coming from? Okay, once you get that down, you got to kind of digest it a little bit. Should I believe him? Why should I believe him or her? Or should I not? Why shouldn't I trust them? Because everything could be a lie. Okay, so this is what you can do. You can compare the narrator's words and his or her behavior. Is there any discrepancies? What this means is the narrator doing everything he's saying he is going to do? Is he putting his money where his mouth is? Or you can check new information against facts from earlier in the story. Again, looking for discrepancies. Does everything add up? Is A building up to Z, or is it jumping all around the alphabet? You can apply what you already know about the world. You may be young, but you know a lot about the world too. And trust your judgment. So you need to kind of think about, is this person right here, like, is it going against like what I personally believe or what I know to be true? You need to trust your own judgment because guess what? You all bring different perspectives to the table. You all bring different points of view to the table. So that is going to affect how you see everything. Like an example, in one of your stories, it's going to ask you about how does the author's experience in their personal life affect the stories? This person's moving around a lot, right? And I think this is through the tunnel. This author had moved around a ton. So she has a lot of different cultural experience, right? So maybe she was young when she wrote the story. We don't know if she had lived her fulfilled life by then. And when she was younger, she moved around a lot. She got a lot of different glimpses of the world at different stages that she was at. Okay, but she is using what she knows to be true about the world and putting it in her story. And that can make us believe her. So you, when you read a story, need to take what you know about the world, what you know to be true already, and use your judgment if this person is reliable or not. And what does that make you think about their story? Okay. We could write about it, but we're not going to do it. Okay. Now you can think about a story that you know where it might have an unreliable narrator. Okay? And think about that. But when you're in your lessons this coming up week, I want you to think, is this narrator reliable? What point of view is this story coming from? Who is the narrator? Are there several different narrators? Should I believe this narrator? Why do I or why don't I believe this narrator? And what does that mean to me about this story? How is this going to affect my understanding or perspective about the story? Okay, so point of view is extremely crucial and important to understanding a story, and you guys need to be able to apply that. Okay, so the key word for this video, disclaimer, if you're new, I'm going to say a keyword in every video, and that's going to be one of the questions on the Google form. Okay, so keyword is flower. Like you pick up a flower from the field and smell it. Not flour like your baking flour. Not that flour. Flower like from a field. Okay? So, a couple of things I also want to say as you're going throughout your lessons is remember to stop and think and always use the text to help support your answers. If you're including quotes or integrating quotes into your answers, you're automatically going to have a better understanding and be a reliable narrator yourself, because I'm going to believe that you know what you're talking about if you're referencing the material. I also want you to think of, hey, how does this affect me? Or can I see myself in this character at all? And I also want you to be able to just double check your spelling, make sure that you're not making those little mistakes, because I do deduct points for that because we're in the online world. Hello, you got lots of resources like spell check to check yourself. Okay, so again, keyword is flower, like flower from the field, like a rose or a daisy or daffodil or snapdragon. I hope you guys have a great week. If you have any questions at all, my office hours are on Thursday from 1:15 to 2:15 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can call, text, or email me, or even leave a comment in the video below, and I'll be able to get answers to you. Welcome to the spring semester and this part of English, whichever, if you're in the first part or last half, welcome. I'm excited to have you again. If you are one of my past students, and if you're new, hello, welcome. I'm excited that you're here, and I hope you guys have a fabulous day.